when we look at this chart, we've got Mars is approaching to go into opposition. It's already in opposition with Neptune. And then the other thing that's going on here, the Sun, you can see, is square to the node here. And we've also got this, actually, do go to AstroSeek. I'm using this, but I also use SolarFire and a few other apps. And we can see that the Sun is in Virgo, the Moon is currently in Gemini, you know, communication time. And then we've got, it's at 14 degrees. Mercury will go retrograde. It's in Libra at the moment. It's just entered Libra. So a lot of sharing there with each other, and, you know, hopefully in a balanced way. We've got Venus is in Libra also. We've got Mars in Virgo. And then we've got Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. You can see there. Uranus is in Taurus, but we've got retrogrades here, you see. And we've got Neptune in Pisces. Neptune moves very slowly, about 180 odd years around the chart. Pluto is 245 years. U.S.A., you guys listening have got your in 2022. I think the exact degree I'll have to look, but you've got your Uranus return, not Uranus, sorry, Pluto return coming up. You've got your Pluto return, and that's a big one. For, you know, it doesn't happen in a human being's life, but it will happen in the life of a country and for humanity. And we've got, you know, depending on what country you're in, but America, you have that upcoming. You've got, I've done a video on that. If you want to check that out, just look at my playlist and search for U.S.A. Pluto return. And then the node is in Gemini. This will be moving out, going from Gemini into Taurus at the end of the year. And we've also got Lilith in Gemini at the moment, and Chiron is in Aries, and Chiron is to do with our wound, you know, our collective wound. So we are doing a lot of self-healing at this time. If we look, if you scroll down, you can bring up your birthday chart here, by the way. See here, birth calculator, but you need your time to know your rising sign, very important. So if we look, the Sun is square the Moon. At the moment, the Moon moves quite quickly, we know. And the Sun is also in a inconjunct, that's a quincunx, but an inconjunct to Saturn. So, you know, where we're trying to see, it's quite exact there as well, that degree. So the Sun is our will and where we shine, and then Saturn is restriction. So there's something that we're having difficulty with that inconjunct going on. And we can also see, let me see on my app that I'm looking at, we've got this inconjunct. We've also got the Sun is trine Uranus, so this is quite helpful to us, but it's moving out here, or is it moving in? Let's see, Sun Uranus is applying. We can have a look also at the Moon, moves quite quickly, it's trine to Venus, Moon square Mars, Moon trine Saturn. So you can see here, and then what you can do to learn, if you're learning, you can see the Sun square to the Moon, so you would go the Sun, and you'd look where that is, and you can see that it's square to the Moon. And the Moon has just moved over in the last hours gone by over the North Node. I want to see what Lilith's doing there. So let's go down to be sure. So Lilith is square to the Sun, and Lilith is where she refused to lay below Adam in the Garden of Eden, you know, the patriarchal rule. And it's not just that, but it's the archetype of that, the understanding of what that was about, and that it's not just to do with the feminine, because we've got both within us, and we can see the struggle, this internal struggle between, you know, power and how we use our power. And as we grow through life, we understand that power, and we've got force as well. You know, if power is used in an untoward way and it's forceful, that it can create a lot of bad things for us in society. And we've also, many of us have had our voices taken away at this time, but Lilith, you know, chose to speak up, and she was cast out. So we can see this is going on in society at the moment, that the people who are choosing to use their voices are getting, you know, but then we're building our own, you know, circles of friends and such like, and we are, you know, moving away from certain people and then joining with others. So the Libra things going on at the moment is quite interesting. Lilith is trine Saturn, Lilith is conjunct the moon, and Lilith is square to the sun. And then the node is also conjunct Lilith at this time as well. So this speaks very loudly to me about the patriarchal rule, because Lilith threw that off. Lilith, you know, if you look at this, Lilith threw that off. So if you're feeling any heaviness briefly, I wouldn't take it too seriously, because it will pass. And when we look at the Mars opposing Neptune, we know that Mars is our energy and it's our drive, and Neptune is where, you know, it's faith, and it's also our inspiration, but it's also can be delusional, and it can also be where it will dissolve illusions. But Mars with the opposite Neptune can be, you know, we can be quite have a lot of idealism, wanting to, you know, see things a particular way. We can be quite fantasy, or we can, you know, also we can feel that we're, you know, in attunement with others at this time as well. And there is the potential for huge illusions at this time. So we want to watch out for that, because that Mars doesn't move so quickly. And I'll show you on solar fire, that's going to last a good week, I think. And this energy can be used in a positive way, but it can also help us flourish, but it can also be used in a way that's not too great as well. So we don't want to be too delusional at this time with our energy, our direction. And the sun, with the North Node, you know, the sun squaring, you know, there's a bit of something is wanting to manifest, like with our will as well, of where we want to go. And in Virgo, it's getting organized, and it's to do with our health, and it's to do with our routines, and it's to do with the way we put, you know, work, and how we work together as well, how we're, you know, our health, and making sure that we're looking after ourselves with the sun in Virgo. I would also say, if we pop over to, let me change screen and go to solar fire. So look here. So let me get my marker again, because when I change screen, it can be knocked out. So it's very busy over here, because I use a lot more aspects on my solar fire than, and I've got other planets going on that can be seen. So I'm using a lot more aspects, or I allow myself to see them. And we can see that right now that we've got this going on, this opposition of Venus to Chiron, but Venus is moving off, and Venus is to do with our needs, and it's to do with our inner needs and the way we speak to ourselves. In evolutionary astrology, it would be the way we hear ourselves. It's our inner ear. So we could maybe say like the inner critic and what we think of ourselves. And we've been very downtrodden. Somebody said it something, I think it was a guy called Richard Grannon. I watch his videos, if you know him, on YouTube, Richard Grannon, on trauma. He's brilliant. He does a lot of the work around Pete Walker, which I do as well. Pete Walker's work is brilliant. And what he was saying was that, you know, when we're 2 years old, and particularly many of us are traumatized, and we're living in a very traumatized world at this moment. And I'm aware of the amount of trauma that's going on out there, and people are not speaking about it because we've been so cast out and shut down, because we're all got different belief systems going on about the right way forward. And, you know, when we're small, you know, our first words are, you know, it's like, no, we learn to say no, and that's mine, or it's mine. And we know what we want. We're very determined when we're little children. You know, we don't really have this ego thing going on. It's just that what's ours is ours. And when it's a no, it's a no. And we have to reclaim a bit of that within ourselves right now. You know, we don't want to be too docile. It doesn't mean that, you know, it's not about the fight between who's right and who's wrong, because it seems to me overall that it's a total unknown what's right or wrong at this time. You know, we're living on this ball that's flying through space, and we're trying to understand how to deal with something that's very much out of our control, very Neptunian, you know, very behind the scenes of something that's unseen. It's an unknown. So when we go into situations and we're absolutely certain that we know, then we can cause ourselves more problems. We don't want to be docile and not have a, you know, an understanding of our own truth. For instance, I know what I believe, and it could be controversial to some people that listen to my videos. And I'm sure that people, you know, vice versa, we've all got different belief systems. So beliefs about how we look after ourselves and our values. You know, there's a difference between beliefs and values, to me anyway. Like the things I value, they're not a belief, it's very much core in me. And we have to decide what those are for ourselves, and we're each on our own soul journey. So what may be, you know, the saying, the old adage of one man's meat is another man's poison. And, you know, that rings very true for me at this time. You know, for me, I don't touch things like, I don't eat processed foods, as an example. You know, I don't drink fizzy drinks. You know, this is my core values about what I put into my body. And then other people are more relaxed about that. It doesn't mean that I'm right and other people are wrong. You know, maybe we're here to enjoy our lives, and, you know, we do what we are. So we do what's right. You know, is this right for me? It's not right what's right for one person and right. I've not got a right to tell people what's right for them. That's my point. So Venus is to do also with money. It's to do with, you know, it's linked in with Taurus, and it's also linked in with Libra. And Chiron is our wound, and it's also helps us to heal and acknowledge what hurts us, you know, what's been concealed, what's been hidden traumas. And when we got this opposition going on, it's possible that relationship wounds, you know, are revealed, and hidden issues that have been sort of pushed away or forgotten about come to light in us. And I found a lot of, you know, I've had a lot of insight over the last week on my own life, and I'm like big moments of recognition of like, wow, now I understand, now I know why I'm this way, you know, where I've really struggled with myself, or maybe have this horrible inner critic, you know, hammering me, telling me that I'm not good enough or whatever. And then I'm seeing where it comes from. So, you know, we want to watch, we really want to look at what comes up instead of running away from it and sitting with it, instead of disassociating from what feels a bit painful. You know, so we can have patterns of behavior that are more conscious also, and then we can be led to acceptance and deep healing. Like, wow, that happened to me. Yeah, that was real for me, rather than just brushing it off. And, you know, the thing that I find doing the trauma work that I help people with, you know, in the ladies groups also that I run, that people can say, you know, throw off things like, you just forgive and you just forgive and you just let go. Those things don't apply to trauma in reality. What I find is with the idea of forgiveness, and we're talking about the wound here, is that often when we work things through, we come to a conclusion, and then we might bring compassion in or understanding, but we don't have to do anything we can't flip a switch and just, you know, say, I'm going to feel this right now. You know, this is not what it is to be human, where the emotions are flowing through us. So we're also going to see that Mercury is going to move in and oppose Chiron as well. So something will go on there. We can see that the sun is in a square. It's going to be in square for a couple of days to our communications with each other. It's, you know, something wants to manifest, something wants to be pushed and changed, which is a square. So squares are not always bad. You know, people think, I've got a square, something, Pluto squares my moon. It's like something is wanting to manifest. And that's really beautiful to know. And we've got some lovely trines going on, which is very helpful to us right now, but they can make us lazy too. And then we also have, if I take this forward, I'm just going to show you a few days ahead. This is the 30th of August today, and we're going to go forward, and we're going to go to the 6th of September, and you will be able to see that we have a new moon then coming up. New moon. I should know better. New moon. We've got Mars, and then that moon will move over Mars. So there's some direction that needs to be worked on here. And then we've got also a trine to Uranus energy. The sun will be trine to Uranus. So again, that breaking free of limitations, you know, what's going to come up for us. This is a really beautiful chart, this moon that's going to be coming up. And what I will do is that I will do a video for that in the next coming days as well, to talk more about that. But my main point of this video tonight was tonight in the UK, depending on where you are, was to just point out, if you're feeling any heaviness, it's okay, just reach out to somebody and say what you're feeling. Don't think it's just you. You know, there's a lot going on in this world at the moment, and I could say a lot more, but again, you know, I feel restricted because I value my channel and I need to, you know, maintain being out there in the world. But, you know, definitely I can look at this with people as well. And we've got also, you know, you can see this Pluto sextile to Neptune. This is quite spiritualized element. I have this connection also with my birth, Neptune and Pluto sextile, and also Chiron the wound. If we go here, that I will read it for you actually. Let's do this. And if you look at that Chiron, you know, it's Chiron is basically where our wound, it's our sense of self, of being has been violated in some way, and we may fear asserting ourselves. And it's where we can overcompensate by attempting to be the first of everything. You know, physically we may suffer, you know, if suffering there may be some suffering as well with them because it's the first house. You know, it's more to do with the mind, which is quite interesting because if I look at this, you know, it says headwinds, like the Aries is headwinds, but we can really see that, you know, our minds are really being fried at this time. You know, we want to, and we're having to overthink, and we're having to think really fast and protect ourselves as well. And it's where we can be pioneers at this time as well, and which can be for the service of humanity, not just for ourselves, but clearly in our healing of ourselves, we have to, you know, do that bit first, but we can also do it whilst we're helping others as well. Okay, that's it for today. Catch you later. Thanks for watching.